Good morning and welcome to Christians Aren't Sheep, a beginner's guide to meditation. My name is Ron Heinrichs. I'm the host of this show, and my channel is totally dedicated to Isaiah 40, verse 31. All those who wait upon the Lord will renew their strength. They will rise up with wings like eagles. They will run and not be weary. They will walk and not faint. Amen. Okay. And I'd like to welcome a new subscriber this morning. Welcome to Jade. If you have any questions or concerns about what we're doing on this channel, don't hesitate to leave me a comment or a note in the comment section. Love to hear from you. Okay, this morning we're doing a little few-minute devotional. Hopefully everyone did their 5-minute stretching routine, kind of calm the mind. Yeah. And this morning devotional is When You're Afraid. I had a medical checkup scheduled, and although I had no recent health concerns, I dreaded the visit. I was haunted by memories of an unexpected diagnosis long ago. While I knew God was with me and I should simply trust Him, I still felt afraid. I was disappointed in my fear and lack of faith. If God was always with me, why was I feeling such anxiety? Then one morning, I believe He led me to the story of Gideon, which is in Judges chapter 6, called Mighty Warrior. Gideon was fearful over his assignment to attack the Midianites. Although God had promised him His presence and victory, Gideon still sought multiple reassurances. However, God didn't condemn him for his fear. He understood him. On the night of the attack, He assured Gideon again of victory, even giving him a way to calm his fears. You have to read the story that's in Judges chapter 7. You have to read that story to get that. God understood my fear too. His reassurance gave me the courage to trust Him. I experienced His peace, knowing that He was with me regardless of the outcome. In the end, my checkup was uneventful. We have a God who understands our fears and who reassures us through the Scriptures and the Spirit. May we worship Him in thankfulness, just as Gideon did. What fears or challenges are you facing? How does it help you to know that God is with you and wants to help you? A little prayer for this morning. Dear God, thank You for not condemning my fears, but always reassuring me of Your presence. Help me to turn to You when I'm afraid and to learn to trust in You. Amen. Amen. And for those of you who on a tighter schedule and that's all you have time for this morning, have a great day. It was nice to have you here. And for those of you who want to get a little further into the quantum world, we'll get back to Dr. Joe's book, You Are the Placebo. You can find all of Dr. Joe Dispenza's work online. Very, very learned physician, and it's hard to explain how much he's researched all this stuff about the power of the mind, but let's do another little story this morning. The knee surgery that never happened. In 1996, orthopedic surgeon Bruce Mosley, then of the Baylor College of Medicine and one of Houston's leading experts in orthopedic sports medicine, published a trial study based on his experience with 10 volunteers, all men who had served in the military and suffered from osteoarthritis of the knee. Due to the severity of their conditions, many of these men had a noticeable limp, walked with a cane, or needed some type of assistance to get around. The study was designed to look at arthroscopic surgery, a popular surgery that involved anesthetizing the patient before making a small incision to insert a fiber optic instrument called an arthroscope, which the surgeon would use to get a good look at the patient's joint. In the surgery, the doctor would then scrape and rinse the joint to remove any fragments of degenerated cartilage that were thought to be the cause of the inflammation and pain. At that time, about 750,000 patients received this surgery every year. In Dr. Mosley's study, 2 of the men were to be given the standard surgery called a debridement, where the surgeon scrapes strands of cartilage from the knee joint. 3 of them were to receive a procedure called lavage, where high-pressured water is injected through the knee joint. Rinsing and flushing out the water is injected through the knee, rinsing out the decayed arthritic material. And 5 of them would receive sham surgery, in which Dr. Mosley would deftly slice through their skin with a scalpel and then just sew them back up again, without performing any medical procedure at all. For those 5 men, there would be no arthroscope, no scraping of the joint, no removal of bone fragments, and no washing. Just an incision and then stitches. The start of each of the 10 procedures was exactly the same. The patient was wheeled into the operating room and given general anesthesia, while Dr. Mosley scrubbed up. Once the surgeon entered the operating theater, he would find a sealed envelope waiting for him that would tell him which of the 3 groups the patient on the table had been randomly assigned to. Dr. Mosley would have no idea what the envelope contained until he actually ripped it open. After the surgery, all 10 of the patients in the study reported greater mobility and less pain. All of the 10 patients. In fact, 2 men who received pretend surgery did just as well as those who received debridement or lavage surgery. There was no difference in the results, even after 6 months later. And 6 years later, when 2 of the men who received the placebo surgery were interviewed, they reported that they were still walking normally, without pain, and had greater range of motion. They said that they could now perform all the everyday activities that they hadn't been able to do before the surgery 6 years earlier. The men felt as though they'd regained their lives. Fascinated by the results, Dr. Mosley published another study in 2002 involving 180 patients who were followed for 2 years after their surgeries. Again, all 3 groups improved, with patients beginning to walk without pain or limping immediately after the surgery. But again, neither of the 2 groups who actually had the surgery improved any more than the patients who received the placebo surgery. And this held true even after 2 years. Hopefully, by now you're getting a clue to the power of the mind, the power of suggestion, power of belief. Anyway, we'll leave it there for today. You all have a great one. See you tomorrow.